coordinator or director of this center, Dr. Atik sir, and all my friends at this center, including Ankit and all dear participants. As very rightly said, we will have more interactive session rather than monologue, and I will try to make it as interesting as possible. So that there are two reasons for it. Number one, it is, you can say, 3 hours session is not a really cannot go only on monologue, so it has to be interactive. And second, but most important, is this skill component is a mandatory component when we will, you can say, start implementing NEP in totality, in true spirit. So we all stakeholders, particularly the teachers, must be very much aware about the probabilities, possibilities, and the ways in which skill component will be integrated into our regular curriculum, so that everything goes well in a synchronized way. That is why we have to understand the importance of skill development. All of us know it, but we will reiterate it, and methods which have been given in action plan of NEP for integrating various skills component into our, you can say, hence whatever will be coming as a part of education, higher education under National Education Policy 2020. Friends, our session I will like to have in 5-6 different small parts. And at the end of each part, if there is any query, you can immediately ask, so that then and there itself we can clarify our queries, and then we will go ahead. So first part of our session will be obviously introduction of NEP. What was the background? Because unless we understand the background, it will be very difficult for us to appreciate the revolutionary changes which are proposed, why they are proposed, why they are important. So we'll have to understand in few minutes what is the background of NEP, and with that background, these changes are given. We will have to understand in NEP, first time probably, very clearly, what is education and what for education. These answers for these questions are specified in policy document. And I think all of us, if we understand these two aspects in the beginning itself, that what is education, obviously then it comes what is higher education and what is the purpose of ultimately higher education. So that we will try to understand. And to understand what is education, we will have to understand domains of education. And what we will understand, after understanding domain of education, we will concentrate on skill education. Then we will understand what is difference between our academic education and vocational education. What are skilling programs? What is National Skill Development Council, NSDC? What is Council's framework? What basically this framework has come from? Then how it is being implemented through NEP in our education system. So this is how we will have our flow. If we permit, we will begin with our first part, that is what is NEP, and yes, no. I think this slide is not moving. Just a minute. Huh? Is the slide visible, friends?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us
Yes,
begin.
sir.
Yes, with what this national education policy is all about. So we know that somewhere in 1985, around 85 to 92, earlier education policy came and it was later on modified. The thrust was really something which worked for last 35 years, but three major impactful changes occurred globally, which necessitate the change in our education system also. The first was somewhere in 1992, in fact in 87, 88 only, when the Washington Accord came into existence. This Washington Accord background of 87, 88 was culminated into globalization, liberalization, privatization policy, which was accepted by the India in 1992. Now, what is the relationship between Washington Accord, globalization, and this national education policy? The Washington Accord necessitated the signatory countries, including India, to standardize higher education in general and technical education in particular. And what was this standardization? Standardization means there were certain, you can say, points, or you can say attributes, what they called as program outcomes, which were uniform throughout the world. And those attributes where have each attribute had some certain benchmark, and each technical educational institution was expected to reach to that measurable benchmark of those one of all those 12 attributes, and that is how a graduate of one institution of those signatory countries was considered to be equivalent to be institute of other country. So this process started in 1987 through Washington Accord, became a part of India's policy by accepting globalization. So that was first major impact, and that is how National Board of Accreditation and later on NAC came into existence. And benchmark, quality benchmark, its measurability, measuring it and standardizing it with global standards came the part of our higher education system. We will find this Washington Accord and globalization has impact on National Education Policy 20. The second change occurred somewhere at the dawn of this 21st century, around 2000. It was Johannesburg Conference. Later on, it became the Bonds Declaration. What was this about Johannesburg Conference and Bonds Declaration? It was about sustainability, and the signatories, more than 175 countries of the world, have accepted that the model of development of 18th, 19th century is dangerous now for survival of this globe itself. Hence, the policy of sustainable development will be there, and there were 70 goals identified. How it is related with NEP? The onus of implementation and achievement of those sustainable development goals, particularly SDG 4, was on the, you can say, shoulders of the education system in general and higher education system in particular. So second impactful event of globe was sustainability conference. So first was Washington Accord, then acceptance of that agreement, then it was Bonds Declaration, and somewhere in 2006, 2007, IT revolution. It revolutionized all sectors. Somehow, education sector kept itself aloof, but we have faced, we have danced to the tune of, you can say, IT revolution during COVID period. So, IT revolution of 2005, 2006, Bonds Declaration, that is sustainability development, and that agreement, Washington Accord, this had a great, you will find a great impact in framing national education policy. So inherently, some weaknesses came into fore, and somewhere around 2010-11, the preparation for new then called as new education policy started. Subramanian committee submitted. Dr. Kasturi Rangan sir, who was ISRO chairman, and very illustrious and illuminating members were there in this draft policy committee. And ultimately, the document came out as a draft. And in 2020, instead of calling new education policy, we accepted it as National Education Policy 2020. Why it is necessary for all of us to understand importance of NEP and its implementation is that it is a global mandate. If we have to remain in, you can say, in existence with the globe, there is no option but to change from our traditional education system into a new education system, which is there provided in National Education Policy. This is what we will reflect, we will find in,
सहज येतो ते सहज इथं तरी काय मी ऐकूनच राहिलो अर्ध्या तासात वापस
we will find it. There are 5 pillars of foundation of NEP on which complete this national education policy is based. You will find access, equity, and affordability are the pillars of NEP which have come from sustainable development. Quality has come as a part of Washington Accord, and accountability is culmination of all these policies. Now, accountability is very important pillar, which is something new for us. And this accountability, what does accountability means? It means you set some target, you measure whatever you have achieved against the set target, and if it is not up to the mark, make necessary changes in input and ensure that you are up to the mark. This is what is the concept of accountability. So whatever we decide, we have to first decide the benchmark or outcomes. And all our efforts should be directed towards achieving those outcomes. So this is the approach which we will see in national education policies implementation. We will find that this policy is divided into 4 parts. First part is school education. We will not deal today. It is not our topic. Second is higher education. Amongst higher education, there are 9-10 chapters on this. Out of that, important for us is 16, that is reimagining vocational education. This is what is our important part for today's discussion, which will talk about skill education. Third part is about other areas, and fourth is making it happen. We will not go for part 3, part 4. Part 4 is in the purview of government, so we, the institution, teachers or university has very little to do in part 4. So we will be concentrating on part 2 for today's discussion. And for that also skill part, skill domain of this part, higher education part, we will be concentrating in today. Now, after understanding the background of NEP, the very pertinent part of policy is they have defined what is education and what for education. Friends, if we see the policy statement, they have very defined what is education. It is education where a student we will be able to develop capacity building of the student, of a learner, into one or more specialized area, one part of it. Second is we will develop its ethical, constitutional value, character development, second part of education. Third is service, creativity, 21st century capabilities. So we will find one is knowledge domain, other is behavioral value and ethics of that individual, and third and most important is 21st century capability. So they talk about capability of the candidate. So now education means to develop a personality of a student in 3 areas: information knowledge, skills and training, values and ethics and behavior. So this development in 3 domains means education. That is what is very clearly specified in policy. Second question, what for education? This is where accountability and our role comes into the picture, friend. What is stated in policy? We have to prepare students for meaningful and satisfying lives. So onus, the responsibility of preparing students so that they can lead meaningful and satisfying lives is given or on we people, higher education or education people. Second, you can say mandate given to us, prepare student for their future work roles. Very big responsibility is given that we have to prepare students for future work role. How should we read this line? What is stated in between over here is that after learning or whatever certification we give, after obtaining that certification, when that candidate will enter into some work role, maybe self-employment, maybe in some employment, but that candidate will go for some work role. So whatever is expected in that domain of that work role, we have to prepare in the education system only. So what student will do after joining vocation or profession or occupation? Within 3 4 years, whatever the student will be expected to perform has to be imbibed by us in the institution role. Very big role. So our whole now spectrum gets changed. We have to understand my student after passing out what he is likely to do, in which domain the student will go. If I am from chemistry, what are the various areas of chemistry? And I have to prepare the student in the chemistry during his college days so that he may be able to do in analytical chemistry, maybe in organic chemistry, maybe in polymer chemistry, maybe pharma chemistry. So the student should be able to perform in his job role. That has to be ensured by us. So this is second, accountability on us. And third is we have to prepare students so that they become economically independent. You will find, friends, that for meaningful, satisfying life, for leading good work, performing good at their work role, and making them economical independence require minimum 3 domains at college level. They must have, of course, good grasp on information and knowledge, but they should be able to do the things what are expected by their own hands also. So they have to be trained, they have to be skilled, and third is they should behave ethically, value-based with cross-cultural issue when they perform in their job roles. So education will be now in 3 domains, taking all these areas in mind. So we will find that as per NEP, our education henceforth will be in 3 domains. Those domains are, first is what is known as affective or behavioral domain, wherein the cross-cultural issues, ethical issues, value-based value system of that candidate must be very, very strong, and those attributes have to be imbibed, tested, certified before any degree or diploma is issued to that student. So assessment, evaluation of the value system, ethics system is also integral part of our system. Second one is psychomotor, in which we will be dealing much in detail after our this introductory session. That is known as doing or skilling or psychomotor, wherein a student will be expected to perform depending upon the level of learning the student has got. If he is at certain certificate level, certain level of skills very well defined in NEP will have to be acquired. If he is of diploma level, skill set will be different. Degree level, postgraduate, research level, according to the level, the skill sets must be imbibed. They have to be tested, assessed, verified, and only after assessment, certification has to be given. So skills will be depending upon the level of learning, and assessment evaluation will also important. And third one, which is generally we consider first one, is cognitive, that is knowledge. So knowledge level depending upon whether certificate, diploma, degree, etc., the level should be well defined, expected outcomes should be well defined, and according to that, we have to impart education in these 3 domains. This is what is expected in NEP. Now, even though there are 3 domains, each domain has got various levels too. Suppose we talk about thinking or knowledge level, the having some information, say what we call it as memorizing, is the lowest level. So state the law, describe something, so recalling something, recite something. So is it not important? Yes, it may be important, but is it sufficient? No, it is the lowest level. So probably in nursery, primary level, remembering may have more, you can say, importance. We may say that, okay, learn the table, remember the table, read the poem. That may be okay. But as we go to higher education,
हो गया
as we go to
बंद है याची पण बंद आहे का सेवा बंद आहे याची पण सेवा बंद आहे का सेवा बंद आहे पण नंबर द्यायचा कोणता आहे भाऊ 84 वाला आहे हा तेव्हा व्हॉट्सअपवर
Vase
व्हॉट्सअपवर
sir,
आज नंबर 84 वाला
Vase sir, can you please mute your mic?
84 219 84 219 28 888 हाच नंबर आहे
Vase sir, can you please mute yourself?
रणधुमाळीमध्ये आहे आमदार ताईसाहेब शेतकरी पुत्र RMD आणि कट्टर हिंदू आणि भाजप एवढ्या ग्रुपमध्ये सोबत
Hello. Should I continue? May I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please continue.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now next level is of understanding. That is also considered to be lower level. So remembering, understanding, applying are lower level. In higher education, we are expected to give education at the level of analyzing, evaluating, and creating, even in knowledge level. So this is what level-based education. So domains of education and levels of education we have to understand before implementing NEP at our level. Now, second domain is psychomotor domain, that is doing skilling. We will find that there are again 7 levels in psychomotor domain also, which we will be discussing this domain more in detail. But here we have to understand, out of these 7 levels, get, set, go. So preparing on perception, a candidate is able to give response to the stimuli, that is get, or preparing to start, that is set, or doing under guided response, that is go. These levels are lower levels. Probably they will be appropriate in school education, but for our higher education, our psychomotor domain, skilling domain, doing domain will have minimum mechanism, complete overt response, adoption and organization as the levels of our skill. So when we will talk about skill development in higher education, our minimum level will becoming with performing the acts with increasing efficiency and confidence. So if I talk about experimentation or practicum at first year, what is known as level 4.5, probably the students will be performing the practicals, they will be doing practice under the guidance of teacher or supervisor. But when they go to higher level, maybe in final year or in postgraduate, they will be expected to experiment and create the pattern. So repeating the pattern with efficiency and you can say confidence, maybe of lower level, but creating new pattern is expected or experimenting with, you can say,
वेगळ्या वेगळ्या पक्षाची मग ती बोलती
शिष्टमंडळ
मला मला एक गोष्ट सांगा
शिल्लक बोला
please,
केलं आंदोलन
Vaise sir, please mute. It becomes very disturbing. So this is, and in same is case of affective domain or behavior or attitude domain, there will be 5 levels. So valuing, organization and internalization means first is accepting the values and behaving with ethics and values. That is the minimum, while imbibing and instilling the values into the system will be of higher level. So what we in higher education system we will have to work on top 3 levels of affect this domain also. This is what is the education. So our first part is NEP, what is the background, what is education, what is the purpose of education, what are the domains of education, and what are the levels of education, and what is applicable out of all these for we, the higher education institution. Probably we have some discussion on this point. So if any question on this part, either we can discuss right now, or questions we can take later on also, at the end also. But as per my planning, our first part of background of NEP, domains of education, purpose of education, what is education, and levels of each domain, we have tried to have some inputs on those points. So if any question, we will wait for a few seconds, or else we will go for the skilling education, which is vocational. Skilling has got many aspects also. The first part of skilling education, that is vocational education, we will start. Only 5 minutes I will wait. If any question, please free to ask on part 1. Okay, let us go to the vocational education. Now, skilling part, which is one of the very 3 important domains, which was earlier not to that extent there in our education, higher education system. Our higher education system was dominated with academic stream education, and vocational education, we used to consider it as secondary education. If a student cannot cope up with field, then we used to say, okay, go for MCVC, go for ITI, go for Polytechnic, and we always look down the vocational part. But now NEP says vocational education is very important component of total holistic development, and it will be important in our higher education system. What is the difference between academic education and vocational education? Vocational education, it gives integration of knowledge, attitude, skills for particular occupations. Outcome is, you can say, capability in a particular occupation, and giving knowledge, all 3 domains in related to that particular occupation, we call it as vocational education. It is distinguishes from academic education in terms of, in case of vocational education, there is a close linking of knowledge and skills to a specific practical challenge and work situation in the economy. While our general education, academic education talks about general situation, but vocational education addresses to a specific situation, specific sector of the economy. So if chemistry I learn, chemistry is a general term, but if I give some specialized skill education in the area of pharma chemistry, or in the area of particularly analytical chemistry, and I prepare them for that specific analyst job, that will become a vocational education. And national education policy expects that each student must get acquainted with one or few parts of the vocational streams of the particular domain. A chemistry student will get 1 or 2 specialized areas, knowledge and skill also, along with the general skill. So it has been made mandatory part of our education. So here also the defined set of competencies. So the set of practical competencies will have to be defined, and we will have to design syllabus, ensure that student acquire to the expected level of those competencies. This will be the challenge for it. The action plan for that is given in, there are various parts, but for our today's discussion, we will take one action plan given by NEP for our today's discussion, that HEIs will be allowed to conduct short-term certificate courses in various skills. So this is what will be the new domain. Our higher educational institutions with the teacher the colleges will have to do is that we have to start short-term certificate courses in each of the program. If I am running some BA program, I will have to run some short-term simultaneously certificate courses. If I am running science or commerce, I will have to run some short-term certificate courses relevant to the vocations and occupations for our students. Now, they can be through formal mode as well as through open distance learning mode also. So, open distance learning will also be the part of our general learning. So, some of the courses, some of the credits, student will earn through or mandatory earn through vocational courses, and those vocational courses have to be how to develop course, that is also given in national education policy. The short-term skill development course, that is vocational course, shall be of minimum 12 credits and maximum of 30 credits. So when our syllabus will be designed, we have to ensure that through our practicum, through our vocational courses, through our skilling courses, minimum 12 credits the student will have to earn from these skill development courses. And we know that 1 credit means 15 hours of theory and 30 hours of practical. And our skilling will be more towards, you can say, practical. So 2 hours per week. So if it is a 12 credit course, then minimum 12 hours, 12 into 2, 24 hours or maximum 60 hours per week will have to be allocated for skilling courses, including practical or practicum. So whether it is art stream, whether it is commerce stream, or whether it is science stream, skilling courses will have to be integrated in our syllabus, through which students will earn credit, and earning of minimum some credit through this vocational courses and skilling courses is the vertical of NEP. It will be the part of syllabus of every program. The skill development curriculum should be how it should be developed. That is also guidelines are given. Number one, it should be engaging and updated. So skill component syllabus may be frequently updated, may not be one year. Every semester also some new skill credit course may come in, outdated course may go out. So our syllabus revision for skill part will be a continuous process. The objective will be digital know-how and future ready. That is the most important part of skill development. 21st century skills have to be imparted. So what is the catchy word is that skill, learn, unlearn. Up till now, we have never uttered this word of unlearn, relearn or reskill and upskill. This is the continuous exercise, and this type of facilitation we have to provide. Skilling, unskilling, reskilling, upskilling, on this mode, skill development education will continue. Recently, UGC has released guideline on how these short-term skill courses should be run. Very startling example is quoted by UGC. It is the official document of UGC, which states that in next 3 years, 85 million jobs will be lost because of the skills which are outdated, because of the new types of jobs which are coming up, for which new types of skills, 21st century skills are required. So if we don't update our student with new set of skills, then students will not find anything, as 85 million jobs will be lost in coming 3 years only. But ray of hope is new 97 million jobs are created with new domains, with new, you can say, 21st century skills, the requirement. So if we do not upgrade the skills, if we do not invite the skills, our students will be out of job. because traditional jobs to the tune of 85 millions are getting lost in just coming 3 years. It is the official document of UGC. And this is the statement of leaders of, the world, or you can say economy, that in next 5 years, whatever people are required, competent talent is required, there is a great skill gap. So what is required by economy and what skill is acquired by present education system, this there is a big gap. The economy is facing shortage of competent talent. So this is what we have to feel through our skill development. And that is why the UGC has told us that anyone, whether he is our student or not, if he has passed 10+2 or its equivalent, means level 4, will be eligible to take admission, and he can pursue credit linked short-term skilling certificate courses of 3 to 6 months in all higher education institutions. So this mandate of UGC, what is the takeaway for us? Every institution will have to run 3 to 6 months skill development course identified by either UGC or sector skill councils or as per the skill gap analysis, and those programs will have to be run and students will earn credit out of it for their certification like degree, etc. The focus areas which UGC has given for these 3 month, 6 month courses are in all sectors, right from IT sector to you will find that digital marketing sector to the payment sector, blockchain, finance and technology, startups, entrepreneurship. So all sectors they have identified. So we have to, what is the takeaway for we the HEI people? We have to run these courses at minimum in the focus areas given by UGC or National Skill Development Council. So with this, our second part, that is one part of skill education, that is vocational education and skill education. That part we are understood. So now let me revise what we have done. First part, we have understood the background of national education policy and why it has, how it has evolved and why it is now necessary to overcome the challenges. Otherwise, students will not get any benefit unless we start giving them education in 3 domains. So we have understood domains of education. What do we mean by education? Levels in those domains. And for higher education, we have seen the domains are of higher. So say for example, in case of knowledge domain, memorizing, understanding and application where we are presently stuck up cannot work henceforth. We have to rise about it, and creativity, analytical thinking, synthesis, those will be the levels of our knowledge domain. 21st century skills requirement, its minimum required is the student should be able to perform with confidence, efficiency, automatically, and apply their skills into changing situations and new domains. Means whatever new things come in the economy, in those they should be able to apply the skill. This is what is the level in case of skill domain or psychomotor domain. In case of affirmative domain, behavior domain, values, ethics, imbibing ethics and implementing ethics in their own system, and values, human values, constitutional value, cross-cultural issues is the requirement, and we have to train and imbibe those qualities in our students. And in case of skilling, the first you can say part of skilling domain was vocational education and skilling. So we have understood what provisions UGC has given. What do we understand by vocational education? How it is different from academic education? and how we have to integrate minimum 12 credit to maximum 30 credit. 1 credit means 30 hours of practicum. So accordingly, so many hours we have to imbibe in our curriculum, maybe of certificate level, diploma level, or degree level, whatever level we talk about, but skilling will have to be imbibed. UGC has given focus areas also, as well as National Skill Development Council has also identified the future skills. So those skills will have to be imbibed in our higher education system. This is what we have covered in part 1 and part 2. So we will wait for 5 seconds. If any query, we can answer here, or we can take it at the end. After 5 seconds only, we will go to our part 3 of our session. Okay, I hope we will take if any query in these first 2 parts also. At the end, presently interaction we are not doing. Okay, now part 3, which we will be discussing, is redesigning our undergraduate program under National Qualification Framework, National Skills Qualification Framework, and National Higher Education Qualification Framework. So we'll have to understand what this qualification framework talk about. So NEP, what does this NEP talks about this framework? See, this part, we will understand what does the policy says, what are the terminologies used in this policy, and what do those terminology mean, and how it is to be implemented by us. With this, we will try to find answer for these 4 questions. What is the statement regarding qualification framework in National Education Policy? Very important. It states formulation of expected learning outcomes for all higher education programs. This is the clear statement that before going for imparting any education, before going for formulating any syllabi, curriculum, we must first state what is expected after learning this. So whenever I go to my class, first question I have to ask to myself and then to the student, at the end of this my 1 hour lecture, what student will able to do? What is the outcome? ये 1 घंटा मैंने पढ़ाया, उससे क्या हुआ? What is that the student will be able to do? They will be able to learn. They will be able to understand. So this question will become pertinent from everybody's regular class to the whole course curriculum and program outcomes. So NEP says that first write down what is the expected learning outcome at each level. After first year, after first semester, after second semester, after 2 years, so every level, what is expected when we say that student has completed this level. Second statement says that National Higher Education Qualification will be formulated and it will be in synchronization with National Skills Qualification Framework for integration of vocational education. What does it mean? Before National Education Policy draft came into existence, say somewhere in 2014-15 draft was handed over. Before that, skills qualification framework was in place, and NEP says that considering this NSQF in mind, even for higher education, NHEQF will be formulated, and this policy statement is accepted. So when we say that there is some framework, some terms like qualification, terms like levels, so we have to understand what does this qualification framework mean. What is the meaning of each of the term used in this policy? So we will try to understand the meaning of qualification framework, qualification levels, qualification descriptors, credit frameworks, and LOCF, that is Learning Outcome Based Curriculum Framework. So to begin with, let us go for what do we mean by qualification. Very clearly, the policy and the instruments which had come out for implementation of policy, these terminologies are made very clear. Now we know what do we mean by education. We know what is the purpose at the end of education, what is to be prepared, what for education is to be given. That education is to be given under certain framework, and that framework is qualification. So let us understand in this national education policy, what do the qualification mean? Generally, in traditional sense, we know that after successfully completing some prescribed program, some certification is offered by that institution, which we call it as qualification. So it is a formal award, such as certificate, diploma, bachelor degree, master degree, or doctor degree. These are some formal awards. But here, what is the difference between conventional or traditional meaning of qualification and as specified by national education policy? The most important part, that qualification has to be awarded by certain competent authority. So now anybody goes and issues certain certification, that will not be considered as a qualification. So some competent authority, so this government will recognize competent authority. In our case, maybe college or university. Second thing, it should be in recognition of attainment of the student of the expected learning outcome. So what is the takeaway for us? Expected learning outcome have to be stated, it has to be imparted, students have to learn, and some competent authority will evaluate whether those learning outcomes are attained or not. And only after attainment, verification, validation of that attainment, the competent authority will issue what will be called as qualification. Another condition is it should be successful completion of a particular program. So now qualification definition is expanded to attainment of expected learning outcome and evaluation by certain competent authority. So assessment and evaluation of learning level by competent authority is essential part of this framework. So we have to ensure that whatever skilling courses also will run, unless they are assessed and evaluated by certain competent authority, that qualification will not have any meaning. So setting the expected learning outcome and measurement of that attainment by certain competent authority is essential ingredient of any qualification. And now that qualification will be aligned with credit system, again based on attainment of defined learning outcome, academic workload of student, and chosen program of study. So another attribute of qualification will be, for a given chosen program of study, student will have to undergo specified workload, and that workload is measured in terms of learning hours. And student must undergo, say for example, in case of skill, minimum 12 credit. It means 12 into 30. 360 hours of learning the student must have undergone. With before the learning start, outcome have to be defined, and after the, you can say 12 credit or 360 hours of learning is over, attainment has to be assessed, and if the student has successfully attained the defined learning outcome of 360 hours of learning, then 12 credits, and that 12 credit related certificate will be given. So to that extent, the concept of qualification is given in national education policy. Now, once we have understood qualification, so three things are very important when we use the word qualification. It must be for a given program. It must be after undergoing learning or specified hours of learning. It must be based on first defining the learning outcomes, and at the end of the learning hours, measurement of attainment of learning outcomes by some competent authority. Whatever certification will be given after these conditions are followed, then it will be called as qualification. Now, those qualifications will be at of different levels of different programs. So it has to be stacked in a proper order, and that stacking of qualification is called as qualification framework. So in case of skilling domain, we must understand qualification is one part. Second part is its framework. Now, what is this framework? It is a way of structuring existing and new qualifications which are defined by learning outcomes, reflecting certain attributes of learning outcomes or course learning outcomes. So this is what is a structuring of those qualifications is known as qualification framework. Say for example, it will have a lowest level of certificate, say 12 credit, it will be certificate. So credits, learning hours, attainment will be related with certain level, and when we stack them one above other, we will give the qualifications like certificate, diploma, degree, master's degree, doctoral degree, and stacking them in a proper way, structuring them in a proper way is called as qualification framework. So our system will be competency-based education and training. It will be outcome-based learning, and these two parts, competency and outcome, are the important aspects of this qualification framework. Now, this competency and learning outcome will be again in three domains, whether it is certificate, diploma, degree. It will be in knowledge domain, it will be in skill domain, it will be value and attitude domain. So our each qualification will have three domains: knowledge, skills, value, attitude, and level wise, it's, you can say, qualification description will be different. For certificate will be of smaller duration, smaller learning hours, lower levels of knowledge, skills, and attitude. But as we go up, as we go level above, you will find higher levels of each domain will have been imparted, assessed, and competencies of higher level will be expected. Now, this is what is the qualification framework. Now, what is national qualification framework? We have understood qualification, we have understood framework. Now, we will be talking about national. When the word national comes, obviously there has to be something international. So there is already an international qualification framework known as doubling or Bolongo process. We will see it. Mapping of it with our system is known as national qualification. So it is the instrument for classification of qualifications according to the set of criteria for specified level of learning achieved, which will integrate and coordinate qualifications from each education sector into a single comprehensive framework. So one institute is giving some types of qualification and their structure. Say one university in one corner of the country and other university in other corner of the country, there has to be some integration into a comprehensive framework, and this single comprehensive framework which will encompass the qualifications and its framework of all institutions of the country, so that interoperability will be there, equivalency will be there, transparency will be there. This is converted into one single qualification framework, and that qualification framework is called as National Qualification Framework. Now, this National Qualification Framework is based on International Qualification Framework. Now, friends, you will understand why I was giving the background. It started in 87 with Washington Award. It started with globalization, GATT agreement, and it talks about standardization of all the institutions of the world, and that is why our qualification framework had to be aligned with international. So what is most internationally accepted qualification framework? Once we understand it, it will be easy for us to understand what is our national qualification framework. And under this framework, we have to put it in our own universities and in our own colleges. And UGC is giving under this national qualification framework only, which is aligned with international qualification framework. Now, European higher education area has developed NQF for European countries, and that is known as Bologna framework, and its descriptors are called as Dublin descriptors. These descriptors are nothing but general statement about the learning outcome which are expected to be achieved by students after completing the curriculum. So let us understand what is this Dublin descriptors or Bologna process. Because our national qualification framework has been aligned with international framework. Now this descriptor has got 5 elements. First element is knowledge and understanding. Again, knowledge domain. Second is applying knowledge and understanding. So skills domain. Third is making judgments. So attitude, behavior domain. Communication skills and learning skills, again skill domain, which is our today's main. You will find that even international descriptors, they are covered under 5 elements and based on 3 domains of knowledge, psychomotor, and affirmative, that is knowledge, this behavior. So these 5 elements are there, which are called as Dublin descriptors, which define the international qualification framework, which is aligned with national qualification framework, which is aligned with our syllabus. Now, what do these 5 descriptors talk about? First is the student who have demonstrated knowledge and understanding in the field of study that builds upon their general secondary education, so higher education, at a level supported by advanced textbooks and knowledge and forefront of their field of study. So this is their first descriptor. So the student should be able to demonstrate the knowledge and understanding, that is academic stream, expected on learning outcomes and evaluated and assessed. So this is the first descriptor. So for each level, it will have to be depth, to what extent knowledge is expected, to what depth and to what depth and breadth knowledge is expected from the student. So that have to be described. That is the first descriptor of Dublin. Second is application of knowledge and understanding, which the student should be able to demonstrate the professional approach in their work or in their vocation and other competencies. So this is what the student will be doing after joining certain vocation or profession. Those competencies have to be imbibed in the college education, higher education. So this is the major challenging. So we will have to understand the skills requirement. Third one is the ability to gather and interpret relevant data for informed judgments, which will have reflection and relevant with social, scientific, and ethical issues. So one of the, you can say, courses or some of the courses, we have to ensure that students have attained the required level, maybe at certificate level lower, maybe at postgraduate level higher. But this is what Dublin descriptor talks about. We have to ensure that students have got capacity and capability to gather and interpret the relevant data. We have to ensure that students have ability to communicate the information, idea, problem, as well as solution to both specialist and non-specialist audience. And last and most important is lifelong learning. So students have developed learning skills because not every day new domain of knowledge is opening. So learning, unlearning, relearning, lifelong learning, those skills have to be imbibed in higher education system. And all 5 descriptors should be there in any program. depending upon level, whether it is what we generally call first year, second year, third year, or postgraduate first year, second year, or PhD. So these are the different levels, and at each level, the 5 domains description has to be given. What is expected in each of the domain in that level? That is the fundamental principle of implementation of this national qualification framework. Now in India, they have accepted Dublin descriptor. So just 1 minute, we will go back. Now we have understood what is qualification framework, what is international qualification framework, what are Dublin descriptors, what are those 5 domains in which the description has to be given for each level, and this international framework is adopted, and our national qualification framework has been made aligned with international qualification framework, and on that basis our qualification framework has been defined and framed. For skilling, there is national vocational qualification framework, there is national vocational education qualification framework, and national skills qualification framework. So for skilling domain, for skill development, with the teacher, with the institute, and with the university should be aware of NSQF, NVEQF, NVQF, and NSQF has amalgamated NVQF and NVEQF, and NSQF has been made in complete alignment with international qualification frameworks in association with International Labour Organization. So we people must be aware of NSQF. Once we are completely aware of NSQF, NHEQF, which is now a part of our any degree program, any postgraduate program, it is based on NSQF. So once we understand NSQF, we will be able to understand NHQF. So let me introduce you NSQF. Then we will have 15 minutes break for tea break, we can say, or we will have first some interactive session on whatever we have tried to understand up till now. And then after 15 minutes, we will go in detail for NSQF and NHEQF. I will just introduce NSQF, stop for 10-15 minutes for a tea break. Before that, we can have interactive sessions on whatever we have discussed up till now. And after tea, we will go for NSQF, NHEQF, and exactly its implementation, what we will be doing. Now, NSQF is evolved, detailed for each discipline and vocation and profession. Now, these Indian standards are aligned with international standard classification of occupation maintained by International Labour Organization, and it provides basis for recognition of prior learning. What does it mean? Whatever you name any occupation, you name any profession, you name any vocation, it has been classified presently into 36 parts, and each part is called as sector. Say for example, I say desk clerk in hotel, or I say junior clerk in any office, I say a receptionist in any hotel, I say software programmer in software industry, I say, you can say labor in chemical industry, in iron and steel industry, in you can say manufacturing industry. You name any vocation, occupation, profession, you will find it getting classified in one of the 36 classes. So in NSQF, these 36 classes have been aligned with international classification. So first and foremost thing, we have to understand, if I am a teacher of a Bachelor of Arts, Humanities, or I am a student of commerce or management or interdisciplinary studies or science or engineering, you take any stream, you will find it gets aligned with some of the occupations, vocations or profession. There will not be any stream in higher education whose application you will not find in one of the occupations, vocations or profession. So we will have to align as a teacher, as an institute and as well as university. When any program, any course is placed for students learning, we will have to see in which class it comes into. And in those class, what are the, for each task in that occupation, profession, let it be from housekeeping to general manager or any higher position, you will find each position, each will be having n number of tasks mentioned over there. And those tasks are grouped into one part. And when we say that I am a student of commerce, you will find in BFSI sector, whatever is being taught or learned by the student in commerce, you will find everything its application in BFSI. And in BFSI, you will find thousands of positions given. And for each job role, what is expected from that candidate who is in that job role is given. Friends, we have understood that we have to prepare the student for their job roles, for their work roles. So from where I will know what is the job role my student is expected to do, that I can search in that occupation classification. What is the job role? What level entry point in that job role is there? So if my student is of first year and he leaves first year and joins there, we know at what level he will be going and what he is expected, that student is expected to do in that job role. And to prepare him for that job role, those skill courses I have to design and impart in my institute by me as a teacher or by institute or by university. And if somebody who is already doing that job role wants to join institute for higher level, we have to ensure the recognition of its higher learning. So student can come from vocation, occupation to institute, or from institute student can go to vocation. This type of interchangeability is expected in skill domain in NEP. So this is the, you can say, important philosophy behind the skill education. This is the vision of national education policy. So for dropouts from formal system will be reintegrated by aligning their practical experience with relevant level of framework. So we'll have to understand levels of framework. In next discussion we will find. And credit-based framework should facilitate mobility across general and vocational education. So this is the vision of National Education Policy 2020 regarding skill education. And this education vision is supported by action plan also in various instruments. So probably we should stop for a few minutes for interactive session and for 5-10 minutes for tea break, and then we will continue after 5-10 minutes with what is NSQF, what are, that is that qualification framework, what are levels, what are qualification descriptors, and based on that, what are same thing for NHEQF, and in each level, what is expected. So which is the basis for designing and imparting skill education or even in general education through our HEI. That part will be taken part 2 after 10 minutes. But just we should not lose the thread. That is why within few minutes, let me recap. We have understood the background of NEP, the international events which had great impact. What are the foundation pillars of NEP? How they are relevant with globalization, Washington Accord, with Bonds Declaration, Sustainability Development, IT Revolution, requirement of 21st century skills. Very dangerous statement. 85 million vocations, occupation, jobs are going to vanish within 3 years. Ray of hope. New 95 million jobs, professions are likely to come. The world leaders, national leaders, from economic leader, they state that we already need manpower, but we are not getting our required manpower from HEI. So we will have to design future skills related courses. That is the background. For with that background, we have understood domains of our education. We have to impart education in now 3 domains: knowledge domain, skill domain, behavioral domain. Each domain is having 7-8 levels, and we at higher education will have to give higher levels of education, while school will be giving education in 3 domains only, but lower levels of each domain. And we in HEI will be giving education in 3 domains again, but of higher level. So we have to understand what are those higher levels in which we have to provide education. Then we have understood in skill occasion how vocational education is different than academic education, and how vocational education is given. Very important in NEP, and it has to be integrated in our general stream education. It is the mandate. We cannot run away from it. Now for that, what mechanisms UGC has provided, what focus areas UGC has provided, how this short-term 3 months, 6 months skilling program will be continually modified, and according to the need they will be changed and will be imparted, so that students are appraised with future skills also. This we have understood. We have understood qualification framework. What is qualification? What is framework? What is international qualification framework? What is national qualification framework? And now what is national skills qualification framework? What is classification? Why it is important? And how it is relevant for we the teacher. Our every class, every course, every program will have to see in which class of occupation it comes into, and according to that, task-based, level-based, role-based skills courses we have to give to our student. So this is what we have covered in first part. So please, any questions, I am ready to answer to the best of my ability for part 1. Else we will break for 10 minutes exactly at 5:30. We will start our part 2.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so should we break for 10 minutes?
Okay,
Sir, one more
Yes.
question.
Yeah, please, ma'am.
Sir, how can we create a center of excellence for in skill development, and what is the process for the same, and how the funds are needed for it?
Ma'am, first thing, go to the site of National Skill Development Council, number 1.
Okay.
Second thing, identify the area in which you want to develop center of excellence in whatever stream you want to do, whatever
Yes, sir.
courses you are running.
Yeah.
Map your course with the sector skill council.
Okay.
For that, yeah, and in that sector skill council, see the future skills in that. You will find in next session, we will also see it. It is known as NOS, National Occupation Standard and Qualification Pact. These are the 2 terms. You identified NOS and you can say QPs. Now, once you have done it, write to sector skill council, write to university, and write to association related,
Mm.
and skill this Ministry of Skills Development.
Okay, sir.
Even each ministry, if you go to road ministry, you will find they have identified the skill courses required for road ministry, and they fund you for those skill courses if you are providing for road ministry. Same is the case with IT, ITCS sector. Same with you name chemical sector, you apparel sector. So they have each ministry has also given funds for skill development for their sector. National Skill Development Council has provided. UGC will be now providing you fund only for skills development mainly. And once we map it, I think, and we give a proposal that we want to run centers. Only important part will be we will have to mention outcomes. What are your outcomes after imparting skill? What outcomes you are expected from it? And it will have to be mapped when the course will be completed. We'll have to ensure that attainment is there. Funds will not be problem in skilling area now, because whole focus is on skilling only. So this is probably the SOP for approaching to establish center of excellence.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So should we break for 10 minutes because लोग भी बोर हो गए होंगे, 1.5 घंटा हो गया. चलो.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, sir. Okay.
Exactly. After 7 minutes we will join them. Huh?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Uh, So, good evening. Let us welcome back. Should we start?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Should we?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. So let us quickly review what we have done and go ahead. We have understood the background of NEP. We have understood the pillars of NEP. We have understood what is education. We have understood what is the purpose of education. We have understood education will be in three domains. It will be knowledge, skill, and attitude behavior. And each domain will have different levels. And particularly for us higher education people, we will be operating in the higher level of each of the domain. Then we have understood difference between conventional academic education and vocational education. We have understood the policies, stresses on integration of vocational education, skill education into mainstream education. Then we have understood what is the various framework which are provided for as an instrument for effective implementation of national education policy, and one of the framework is qualification framework. So we have understood what do we mean by qualification, what is qualification framework, what is international qualification framework, what is national qualification framework. Under national qualification framework, we have understood that there are qualification framework for vocational training, vocational education, skill training, and higher education. Accordingly, our first is National Skills Qualification Framework, and on the basis of National Skill Qualification Framework, National Higher Education Framework, that is from NSQF, NHEQF has been evolved. So let us understand what is National Skills Qualification Framework. The best understanding that we understand now what is qualification and we understand the framework. In qualification, we understand three things. One is the program. Second is learning hours. Third is learning outcome. Fourth one is assessment and evaluation by competent authority. And fifth one is qualification given by competent authority. In each of the college and framework is structuring, stacking of those qualifications from lower levels to higher level, maybe certificate, diploma, degree to higher level. This is why we have understood the qualification framework. And we have understood for each qualification of each level, it will have some description. So those we called it as qualification descriptor. Internationally, Dublin descriptor is followed, and India has also taken clue from Dublin descriptor, and according to that, we will be also having our own descriptors. One thing again we have to remember, these qualification descriptors are the statements in various parts when we say a student is having certificate. So the meaning or guarantee of stating that student possesses or we award a certificate, we award a diploma, we award a degree, we award postgraduate degree, we award doctorate degree. When degree is awarded, it will means guarantee in 5 domains. And each level, whether it is certificate to doctorate, in those 5 domains, statement will be given. When student is certified, means he has got this attribute under these 5 domains. This is what we have understood. Now, on this background, let us understand National Skills Qualification Framework. It is more relevant for skill development education. So, what is this National Skills Qualification work? It is nothing but organization of qualification according to series of levels in knowledge, skills, and aptitude. It is from NEP policy statement only. So domains will remain knowledge, skill, and aptitude, but their levels will change. And when we stack them, when we structure them from lower to higher, that will call it as National Skills Qualification Framework. They will be defined in terms of learning outcome, which the learner must possess regardless of whether these outcomes are acquired through formal, non-formal, or informal learning. Very important for us. A student of 8th standard, if he is a school dropout, but has undergone some vocational, occupational, may have joined his father's scooter repairing workshop. But if he has acquired certain levels of learning outcome, which will be called as recognition of prior learning, that boy, a school dropout, you may find in higher education system, if the competent authority will certify that his capabilities of are level 4, the candidate can get admission in level 4.5, which is higher education level. Up to 4 is the 12th level. So whether it is through formal, that is from 1st to 12th standard he has gone, or non-formal or even informal, the candidate or student will be able to enter at level depending upon his previous acquired level. So this is what is the concept of NHQF. Basically, it is the competency-based skill framework. So importance now, along with our academic stream, it will be the competency-based education along with academic stream, you can say education. It will provide multiple pathway, horizontal. He can go from vocational to academic, academic to vocational, vertical also, and both in vocational education, vocational training, and general education and technical education. This type of flexibility is provided through National Skill Qualification Framework, and it is in continuum. It is not discrete. One level of learning is linked to next higher level. So what will be the outcome? What is the ultimately outcome of this framework is that a person will be able to acquire desired competency, transit to job market, at opportunate time come back, again add additional skills, further upgrade competencies. So multiple entry, multiple exit system will come through this qualification framework. The policy states about National Skill Framework, which was already in existence before NEP was introduced. The policy says it will be further detailed, and compatibility of our national occupational standard with international occupational standards, that compatibility will be ensured, which is already done. When NSQF and NHEQF are formulated and document has come out, they have ensured the compatibility of national standard with international standard. So what are the key elements? It will be the recognition of skill, proficiency, and competency at different level, leading to international equivalency. Multiple entry, multiple exit between vocational, skill, training, technical, and job market, and progression pathways within the skill qualification framework. These are the key elements of, you can say, NSQF. They will provide opportunities for lifelong learning, relearning, and re-upskilling. Partnership with industry and employer is important feature. So ma'am was asking what will be SOP for Center of Excellence. Partnership with industry and prospective employer will be the key element of our proposal for Center of Excellence in Vocation. It will be have accountable and credible mechanism for skill development across various sectors. As I told you, you may name any vocation occupation, you will find its place in classification of one of the sectors. So if there will be mechanism and credits will be given, and recognition of prior learning is another element. What is the objective? Why this national skill qualification framework? It will accommodate diversity of Indian education training system and standardization and mapping with international education and training system. It will allow development of set of qualification for each level based on outcome, which is accepted across the nation. Means certificate of one institute at one corner will be have standardized, which will be accepted throughout the nation at any other level. So industry, if it is sector skill council certified student, all the industry under those sector will accept that certification as competency achieved by that candidate. This is the main objective of NSQF. It will also give individual option to progress through education, training, and gain recognition of prior learning and experiences. And it will support and enhance national and international mobility. Remember, national as well as international mobility of person with NSQF compliant qualification. So it takes care of globalization, it takes care of nationalization, it takes care of standardization, and it takes care of recognition as it will be evaluated, assessed by some competent authority like Sector Skill Council. So these are the, you can say, advantages. Mobility is the most important part of national education policy, which will be achieved through this skills qualification framework. Now, in this national skill qualification framework, there are certain keywords which we should understand before implementing NSQF aligned courses, because it will be mandatory for all of us to implement some of the skill courses, some of the NSQF aligned courses, the courses approved and recognized by Sector Skills Council, courses which will be evaluated, assessed, and competencies will be certified by Sector Skill Council. So the terminology used in by NSDC, used in NSQF, used by Sector Skill Council, this terminology we should be very well acquainted with, because we will be regularly using about these words like RPL, NOS, QP, CP. So these are the terms which we will be using when we talk about skilling courses or vocational courses. So let us begin with very simple, which we know first will be skill. Let us understand in NEP how skill is defined. It is defined as the ability to apply knowledge, use know-how to complete the task and solve the problems. See, outcomes are very clear. Ultimately, application or that ability should lead to a solving of a problem, completing the complicated task. So this is what is the skill, and it will be described. Again, there will be a descriptor such as cognitive. We know that knowledge involving use of logical, intuitive, and creative thinking. So skills of knowledge domain will be logical thinking, intuitive thinking, creative thinking. Those will come under skill from knowledge domain, or from psychomotor domain, that is doing the things, practical doing, that is involving manual dexterity, use of method, material, tools, instrument, as well as from value systems. So again, skills will have all three domains: cognitive domain, it will have psychomotor domain, as well as it will have affinitive domain. All three domains, relevant portion of those domains will come as a description for skill. We know what is qualification. Recognition of prior learning, RPL, it is be very important in future in higher education, because students not only from formal but from informal and non-formal sectors also will have chance if they are capable to join higher education system. So school dropouts, college dropouts, they will have chance to come, but after recognition of their prior learning. So there will be a well set process of recognizing previous learning, specifically experiential learning for gaining qualification. As I was giving some example, a school 8 dropout or school 9th dropout, if he has undergone certain specific experiential learning at the during a job, then if that competency is of level 4, it will be recognized after assessing by competent authority. And if that student is certified that he has attained level 4, then he will be able to enter level 4.5. Level 4.5 is of higher education. Level 4 is 12th, and below 4, they are school. So school dropout attaining the level of certification of level 4 will able to enter into higher education at level 4.5. So this is the important thing we have to understand from first definition. Second important definition, probably many of us may not be aware of this word, but we will have to know this. We cannot in future say that I am not aware of what is NOS. This NOS, National Occupation Standard, is a measurable performance outcome required for individual engaged in a particular task. So we have to prepare the student for job role. So presently, I may have the courses or subjects like analytical chemistry, organic chemistry, or inorganic chemistry. This will be my course title. Presently, I am having. But NSQF aligned courses may have the title like laboratory chemist, plant chemist. So those will be the title, job role. It may be computer programmer. My title of the course will be receptionist. So those will be the whatever task or the designation a person gets in his occupation or profession may be my course title. And for that particular title, job role, what is to be done, it lists down, that is NOS. In NOS, lists down what an individual is expected to perform in that task. And for performing task, what that candidate is expected to know and also do. Suppose my job role is receptionist. So that sector has written down what task a receptionist is expected to do. And to do that task, what is expected that receptionist should know? What is that receptionist is expected to do in the job role of receptionist? So right from housekeeping to general manager at various levels, every job role is listed down with the task, and with that each task, what is expected to be known and what is expected to be done, that is listed down, and list of compilation of all this what is expected to be done is called as National Occupation Standard. Now these standards form the benchmark for various education and training program and recruitment range of HRM practices. Human resource management practices, those are the benchmark that a student, a candidate must minimum he should know and he should be able to do. Then only he will get that job role. And in a national education policy, we the education institution, we the teachers are expected to know what my student is required to know and do, when he goes out, he or she goes out from my institution. So NOSes are fundamental part of framing syllabus of skill courses. That is why NOSes are required to be known by all of us. Once we understand what is NOS and what is the purpose and how that NOS is framed, it is already available, friend. We do not have to write NOSes anything. The National Skill Qualification Framework, National Skill Development Councils, and respective sector skill councils are already classified various job roles right from lowest to highest. They have already listed down what a person is expected to know, expected to do. That data is already available on Sector Skill Council under the heading of NOSes for a given job role. Even levels are also given. If that job role requirement, NOS requirement comes at level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, everything is mentioned. So whatever level of course our department college is offering, mapping with that level, we have to select that skill course and start imparting 3 months, 6 months. How many hours, that is also given. So NOSes, we only should understand what is the takeaway for our today's discussion, that we are aware what do we mean by skill, what do we mean by NOS, and NOSes, where to find NOSes. So we know what is NSDC, what is Sector Skill Council, and we know in that Sector Skill Councils, NOSes are already defined for all the jobs and their job roles. We have to pick up suitable and start that type of NOS in our institution. Now, next important thing which we should, that term we should understand is QP, qualification pack. Now, each job role may require performance of number of tasks. The combination of all NOSes corresponding to that task will form qualification for pack for that job role. So, job role, various tasks, various NOSes, and all NOSes together will be called as qualification pack. So NOSes and qualification pack for each job role corresponds to each level of NSQF are already formulated by concerned sector skill council. What is the takeaway for me? I should know now that there are sector skill council. I know whatever course I am imparting, whatever program I am imparting, it comes under what occupation or vocation and which sector skill council. And for that sector skill council, of the level for which I am running the course, I should collect NOS and QP from sector skill council and start imparting that education to my student. As simple as that, NSPF has already done this work for us. Now, after that, final is the curriculum pack. The competency-based curriculum pack will consist of syllabus, student manual, trainer's guide, training manual, trainer qualification, assessment guideline, testing guideline, multimedia packages, e-material, everything is made available, and that for a given job role, for a given NOS, for a given QP, all together is known as curriculum package. This curriculum package having syllabus, manual, guide, testing procedures, hours, multimedia packages, learning material is available, that is to be used to impart skill and training to our student. So this is what, Sauji madam, could you please mute your mic? Now, what is sector? It is the grouping of vocations depending upon their main economic function, product, service of or technology. So depending upon in which economic area they are working, what products they are producing, or what services or technology they are providing, they are classified under those sectors. Tens of thousands of industries and businesses come under one sector, and one certificate from that sector is acceptable to all the tens of thousands of businesses and economic groups. This is the beauty of those sectors, and each sector have formed their sector skill council. They are industry-led national partnership organizations bringing all together stakeholders of their sectors, and they have defined NOSES, QPs for various job roles in their sectors, and they are aligned with appropriate level of SQF, which is aligned with international level. So this work is already been done. National Skill Development Council Board has up till now approved 36 sector skill council. There are more than 600 representatives in governing council of these sector councils, and all NOSES, QPs, qualification packs, everything is available on their you can say websites, and they are already imparting education and certification. This is what we have to provide through 3 months, 6 months courses as a part of integration of our academic vocational courses, and they will be creditized for a degree, for a diploma, for a certificate. Those credits on
Hello,
through
sir.
sector skill council.
Hello, sir. Please, host can mute the Saujit.
Host, may I request you? It is very much disturbing. Many mics are on. Yeah. Sauji ma'am, Mangala ma'am, can you please mute your mics? Please, ma'am, please mute. Please. My sincere request. Thank you. Sauji ma'am, thank you. So I have given you showing you the list of various sector skill council. Say for commerce, BFSI is the appropriate council. I mean, there each council, each course may have number of you can say councils relevant for them. Say aerospace council, agricultural council, apparel council, beauty wellness council, construction council, electronic council, automotive skill development council, furniture council, name any occupation profession friend, James and Jewelry Council, IT, yes, the NASCOM is the sector skill council for them. So ITS council, leather sector council, agriculture sector council, logistics sector council, life insurances, life sciences sector skill council. So if you want to have require center of excellences in life science, please contact life science. If you want to have the center of excellence or skilling courses in computer or IT related, please go and contact ITS sector. If you want to have some hydrocarbon chemistry people, go over there. James and Jewelry, home science people they want, arts they want, humanities people they want. We can go healthcare sector council is there. So you name the profession, occupation, you will find our sector skill council and all their NOSES, qualification pack, curriculum package, everything is available to them, and they are recognized nationally as well as internationally. Each of the council has got thousands and tens of thousands of all you can say industries or businesses associated with each council. So one certificate from that council is applicable to all the businesses, thousands and 10,000 relevant to that sector skill council. So for our commerce student or BBA, BCA student, Rashi is very actively doing it. Retailers Association Skill Council. So our student many times work in you can say DMart or Big Bazaar or malls. So if we connect them for internship or course for skill courses relevant to Retailers Association, you will find that student get certification, get credit that is integrated with our degree also. Suppose they earn 10 credit and degree is of 120 credit, they have to earn 10 credit. So this, if the offer and earn credit through that council, it is accepted. And we have to run 3 months, 6 months courses for providing skilling. So we have to take care that we are aware of sectors and this sector skill council. Now, once we have understood what is the National Skills Qualification Framework, NOSES, various sectors, there are levels, because complete national education policy pitch on level-based, competency-based education. What does it mean? Presently, we say that my student is in first year, my student is in second year, my student is in final year. They will remain, but along with year in which the student is studying, it will be matched with the level. Say, for example, first year of 3 years undergraduate program will be 4.5 level program. Second year, what we call is 5 level program. Third year, 5.5 level. Fourth year or first year of PG, 6 level. Second year of PG, 6.5 level. So year will be mapped with level, and slowly we will forget year of in which the candidate is studying. We will be talking about level. That competency level, that is the big change likely to happen, that we will be shifting towards competency-based, level-based education. And competency will be in 3 domains. So all this, cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and behavioral domain, they will be part of each level. So they are in first year, we have to impart education in on all these 3, only levels will be different. And when we say level 4.5, so qualification framework, qualification descriptor will be there. So NSQF has organized qualification according to the series of levels of knowledge, skill, and aptitude. NSQF has already done, NHEQF has already done. Now these levels will be defined by descriptors in the form of outcomes. Understand the change in concept. So it will be the level, and level will be described by certain statements. And framework will represent increasing level of complexity in terms of knowledge, competency, and autonomy that must be demonstrated by the learner. So each level are described in the form of some statement, and those statements are defined by 5 parameters. Please remember in our part 1 of today's session, where it was Dublin descriptor. It also had 5 parameters. NSQF, NHEQF also, they also have 5 parameters. And each level will be described on these 5 parameters. Now, what is that? Now, this NSQF will be composed of 10 levels. Each represent a different level of complexity of knowledge, autonomy, competency. Level 1 will represent lowest complexity, while level 10 will represent highest complexity. For example, level 4 means up to school. Level 4 is 12th, equivalent 12, and 10th is PhD. So all qualifications will be put up from level 4 to level 10 in case of NSQF, and from level 4 to level 8 in case of NHEQF. NSQF has given levels like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But NHEQF has taken it as 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, and 8. So this is how they have represented the levels. Now each level will be defined by certain criteria expressed as outcome, volume of learning, which will be denoted by how much time the student has taken that acquire qualification. So learning hours, And it is important that NSQF levels not necessarily relate to the year of study. So student who has not studied 10th or not studied 12th might be equivalent to level 4. So a student who has not completed 12 can come to the level 4.5 or 5, that is in higher education. So NSQF levels and year of studies are not necessarily directly connected. Mapping is definitely there, but not necessary. It is not essential. Now each level, now we have understood there are levels. Since we are talking about NSQF, we will say that there are 1 to 10 levels, and for higher education it will be from level 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So for us, when we are discussing NSQF and for higher education, our levels will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. 5 will be lowest, 10 will be PhD level. Now each level will have descriptor based on 5 domains. So there will be clear-cut statement for each of these domains, such as process. Those domains are process, professional knowledge, professional skills, core skills, and responsibility. So generally, what we talk about first year student. Now we will be talking about in NSQF 5 level student. So 5 level student, when we will say that students has attained 5 level, it will be assessed, evaluated and tested on 5 parameters. First will be process. If he has achieved the description, I will show you what description is there at level 5 for process. Level of professional knowledge, professional skill, core skill and responsibility. What is the takeaway, friends, for us? When we will frame the syllabus, whether it is for first year or third year, whether it is for level 5 or 7, 4.5 or 5, we have to ensure that it will have 5 parameters. Every certification will be assessed on these 5 parameters. So our course structure, our program structure, our syllabus will essentially will have education to be imparted to the student in these 5 parameters. What are those 5 parameters? Say process. Process is general summary of remaining 4 domains corresponding to that level. Now professional knowledge. It is what a learner should know and understand with reference to the subject and field of knowledge. So every course, if I am teaching, my course is having 5 courses in semester 1. For each of the course, if it is of first semester, first I will have to write what is the course learning outcome expected a student will be able to understand, student will be able to know, student will be able to apply, student will be able to do after learning by this course. This is the beginning of framing the syllabus, because this is the second parameter on which certification will be done, evaluation will be done. It will describe in terms of depth, breadth, kinds of knowledge and complexity. Say for example, I am preparing some syllabus of physics or chemistry for semester 1. I must keep in mind that it is a 4.5 level course. So depth, breadth, kinds of knowledge of physics or chemistry and their interrelation and complexity should be appropriate with the level of 4.5. I cannot have advanced courses in semester 1 itself, because this is not expected in level 4.5 or what we generally call it first year. Depth of knowledge can be general or specialized. Breadth of knowledge can range from single topic to a multidisciplinary area of knowledge. Kinds of knowledge may range from concrete to abstract. segmented to cumulative, and complexity may be combination of kind, depth, breadth of knowledge. So this has to be kept in mind while designing the syllabus, curriculum, course structure for our student. It should get mapped, because it will be attainment of these parameters will be essential before we, you can say, issue any certificate or any qualification certificate, diploma or degree. Third is the professional skill. See, this is what our today's topic is. What a learner should be able to do. That has to be learning outcome, has to be very clearly to be specified for each level. So each level, even though it is not directly related, but I am talking each semester or each year, we will be talking in terms of level mainly. So after undergoing my program, my course, we have to write what a learner should be able to do in terms of cognitive and creative skills involving use of intuitive, logical or critical thinking, communication skills, written, oral, literacy or numeracy skill, interpersonal, generic skill that a learner should possess to perform a task or a job competently, productively and independently, and also a part of team. You will find these three are in three domains: cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and attitude domain. So professional requirement has to be very clearly specified learning outcome. This is third parameter. Fourth is the core skills. This is again a skill domain, psychomotor domain, where is depending upon level of the learner for which we will be giving him qualification or award like certificate, diploma, degree. We have to mention what basic skills involving dexterity and use of method, material, tools and instruments student is expected to have competency, efficiency for using those for performing a job, including information technology skill needed for a given level of study and work. So in skill development courses, which will be integrated in our regular courses, we have to ensure this fourth component also, fourth parameter also, and fifth is on behavioral domain, that is responsibility that the learner can be entrusted with, whether to what extent the student is expected to take the responsibility of their own, what degree of supervision will be needed. Say for example, if the student is of 4.5 level or 5 level, probably supervision may be required. But a student of getting level 7, 6, it will not be expected that he will need any supervision more. Degree of supervision requirement will be there. In fact, he will be supervising the people with level 4, 5 or 6, because 7 level degree of supervision which will reduce, while on lower level probably degree of supervision requirement will be more. The degree of supervision a person is capable of exercising over others, that is the level at which learner can supervise others. Probably at lower level of learning, say level 4, it is not expected that he will be able to supervise others. He will in fact get supervised by others. But if a student is of higher level, then he must have capacity and capability to supervise many people under him. So this fifth factor, it determines the nature of working relationship, level of responsibility for self and others, managing change, and accountability for actions. So according to these parameters and qualification framework, NSQF has given level-based qualification structure as NSQF level 4 will give the certificate it will be of 6 months, it will be credits will be 30, and entry point will be after 10 plus 2, not 10 plus 12, it is 10 plus 2 or level 4. Now this 10 plus 2 means either through formal mode, informal mode, or non-formal mode. If recognition of prior learning shows that student is competent and attained the level of 4, he can enter in for certificate courses. Diploma will be of 1 year. See, this is for NSQF. NHEQF has slightly modified. Since our focus is skill, I am talking more of NSQF. I will talk less on NHEQF. Advanced diploma, BHoc degree, PG degree, MHoc degree, and level 10 will be research level. So for each level, qualification descriptors will be there on 5 parameters, and evaluation assessment for attainment of those parameters in 5 parameters will be done, and accordingly certificate or research level degree will be awarded to the student. Say, for example, if it is level 5 certificate level, the process part parameter, what is expected, what is the qualification descriptor of first parameter, that the job requires well-developed skill with clear choice of procedures in familiar context. So student after getting certificate will be expected to work in a familiar context. So what is expected as far as process is concerned? That he has got well-developed skill and he knows what are the choices of procedure in this familiar context. Efficiently, he can do overall process part. What is, that's a knowledge domain. Here it is expected that the student knows the facts, principle, process, and general concept in the field of work of study. This is what expected in level 5, first year, what we call it as. In case of professional skills, what is expected? That he is well aware and competency in range of cognitive and practical skills required to accomplish the task and solve the problems by selecting and applying basic methods, basic tools, basic material, and basic information. So the student will be required to be given training in this area only, and he will be assessed on this parameter only. What will be the other skills, core skills? Desired mathematical skills will be understanding of social, political, and some skill of collecting and organizing information and communication. To that level, this is the descriptor for level 5. And job responsibility, he will be responsible for his own work and should be able to take correct, you can say, instruction from the top, and correct should be able to communicate information to the top. Take instruction from top and give proper information to the top. This is what is expected at level 5, and student will be tested, evaluated on these 5 parameters, and once all these 5 meters are found that candidate has attained, certificate will be issued. If he enters into next level, which we call it as a diploma level, what are the process required? In level 5, it was different. In level 6, it will demand now range of specialized technical skills, clarity of knowledge and practices, and in broad range of activities. See, breadth and depth, both in processes are increased. In terms of knowledge also, factual and theoretical knowledge, not only its own content, but in broader context now within the field of work or study, you will find that breadth has increased, slightly depth has also increased. Professional skill, now range, cognitive and practical skills required to generate the solution to the specific problem that will be expected from diploma in the field of work. And in case of, you can say, core skills, Now it was a basic mathematical skill. Now here reasonably good mathematical calculation, understanding of social, political, and reasonably good in data collecting, organizing, information, and logical communication. You will find that same core skills were same in level 5 also. But depth and breadth has increased, and responsibility along his own work. He should be able to take the responsibility of others in his team. Now, it is expected that he will not only be team member, in some of the occasions, he will be team lead also. So now diploma, when we say, he has the attributes that he will be responsible for his own work as well as his team work, team members' work also. When he enters higher level, degree level, you will find expectation learning outcomes on these 5 meters are further expanded in terms of breadth as well as depth. Let it be process, let it be professional knowledge, let it be professional skill, let it be core skill, or let it be responsibility level. So our any year, any level course, we have to ensure that when we say that our student has crossed first year and entered into second year, or he has crossed level 5 and entered 6 as per NSQF, or as per NHEQF, he has crossed level 4.5 and entered level 5, or crossed 5, entered 5.5. We have to ensure valuation assessment on these 5 parameters. And when university will issue certificate, institute or university will issue diploma, it is the guarantee to the all stakeholders nationally, other institution and internationally also, that when we say is our degree holder, means on these 5 parameters, on this qualification description, a student has attained the competency level which is mentioned against that level. And this is the common platform, common argument on which interportability of student, transfer of credit from one university to other university and from university of our country to other country will take place. The basis for transportability and transfer of credit and transfer of student from one university to another city will be the, you can say, guarantee of that competent authority, in our case university, which will say that our student has passed degree, means on these 5 parameters he has acquired the competencies and capabilities from knowledge, skill, and behavioral domain. This is the change. So accountability word, whatever was there, it was relevant to this type of accountability. And we, the teacher, we, the institution, we, the university, are part of that competent authority who certifies the acquirement, attainment of these attributes. When we say that my student has attained the credit, passed the course, when we say that my student has passed the year or passed the level, what do we mean by that is attainment of this depth and breadth on 5 parameters. So once we have understood NSQF, which was already in existence before national policy, our education policy came into existence. So policy says that as NSQF is already available, it has already been aligned with international standard. After implementation of NEP, in line of NSQF, NHEQF will be developed, and NHEQF is already developed, and this instrument, this framework is available, is issued, and it is to be followed. So once we have understood NSQF, it is very easy to understand NHEQF. So NQF, NSQF, it leads to NHEQF. So we know that this qualification framework is in alignment with national qualification framework, is in alignment with international qualification framework. And it is the instrument of qualifications or classification of qualification according to set criteria. This we have already seen with specified levels of learning, and it will integrate and coordinate qualification from each education and training sector into single comprehensive qualification framework. NSQF was 4 to 10. NHEQF has developed the instrument for the classification and recognition of qualification along a continuum from level 4.5 to 8. Level 1 to 4 is in school education. 4.45 to 8 is for higher education. That is certificate to PhD degree. Now this NHEQF is a structure which is based on defined learning outcome. That is qualification descriptor. That is the statement what learner is expected to know, understand, and will be able to do after successful completion of approved program of study at a specified level. So as I was saying, it is a sort of a guarantee to the world that when university issues certificate, we make a statement that my student possessing my certificate, he knows this, understand this, and he is able to do on those 5 parameters. It is just like promissory note of Reserve Bank of India. I promise to pay the bearer of this paper 500 rupees, something like that. University is promising to all stakeholders that bearer of this certificate has competency of this level, 4.55 level, when we say certificate in this domain. So student knows this thing, he understands this, he will be able to do this thing. So all those 5 meters guarantee means qualification or certification. So what is to do? How, when that competent authority will issue that guarantee paper? When the student will demonstrate the attributes expected. So first, attributes are to be defined. Student must know what I am expected to demonstrate. And valuation assessment by competent authority is to be done on the basis of expected outcomes and attributes. See, the present method of assessment will completely change. The type of questions which are being asked, if they are not mapping with the outcome expected, that will not be considered. So mapping of and measurement of attainment will be integral part of assessment in future. So this is what is the takeaway from NSQF and NHEQF, whether it is knowledge domain education, academic stream education, or vocational education. So higher education qualification leading to certificate, diploma, degree shall be described in terms of learning outcome. So this is what is fundamental, you can say, premise of qualification framework. When any degree, certificate, diploma is awarded, it means that the student has demonstrated the achievement of learning outcome and academic standard expected of the graduate of a program study. This is the basis on which equivalency of all qualification per nation will be decided. So it will represent a comprehensive framework that will classify qualification based on the set of performance criteria. And this set of performance criteria is approved nationally and it is comparable with international quality standard. From local to global, this is our journey. And this is on the basis of standardization, attainments of those standards, and benchmark of those standards. So it will clearly specify what are the expected learning outcome corresponding to the level of that qualification. So purpose, we know this is the purpose to maintain national standard and international comparability. This is the main point, and this is the starting point. It is the point of reference for setting and assessing academic standard, designing curricula, designing teaching learning assessment strategy, and review of program. So with this reference, everything has to be designed, reviewed, taught, learned, assessed, evaluated. So this is the purpose of qualification framework. It will, you can say, enable prospective student, parent, education provider, employer, and so all stakeholders to understand the nature and level of what is expected and what are the attributes students have achieved when university awards certain certification, maybe certificate, diploma, or degree. So this is the importance of, you can say, qualification framework, and it will increase the recognition of value and comparability of the qualification. Now, the descriptors are similar what we have seen in NSQF. In NSQF, it was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In case of NHEQF, it is level, instead of there it was 5, here it is 4.5. There it was 6, here 5. So here levels will be 4.5, 5 and 5.5 for 3 years undergraduate program. So what we call it as first year of undergraduate program will be level 4.5. And if the student exits after first year or level 4.5, he will get undergraduate certificate. But if he continues, certificate will not be given to every student. It will be only given those who exit. Those who continue, they will come to second year, what we call, or now NHEQF will say they have entered into level 5. Level 5, if they go, they will get diploma. So its duration and credit is also given. Similarly, it is for 3, 6, 6.5, 7, and final 8 is doctoral degree. So this framework is already been given as an instrument for all the universities of the country and all the institution, colleges, and we, all the teachers. So this is what we have to follow in future, or from this year only, when NEP is, you can say, given. Now, as there were 5 parameters in Dublin descriptor, 5 parameters in NSQF descriptor, similarly, in case of NHEQF are also having 5 parameters. As in case of Dublin, it was on 3 domains. Again, in case of NSQF, it was on 3 domains. Here also NHEQF also, those five parameters are based on 3 domains: cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. Whole education system, what is education? Education means giving competency in these 3 domains. So first, if we take cognitive domain, so knowledge and understanding. So if a student is of 4.5 level, if the student is of level diploma level or degree level, same domain is same, knowledge or understanding. But what is expected? That student is expected to demonstration. You will find that in level 4.5, the student is expected to have knowledge of fact, concept, principle in broad disciplinary learning context within chosen field, or understanding of the linkages between learning areas. But when he enters into diploma, you will find that his, you can say, theoretical and technical knowledge is expected, and deeper, now depth has increased. Deeper knowledge and understanding of one of the learning area and its underlying principle. When he goes to the next level, 5.5, comprehensive knowledge, current knowledge, emerging issues, procedural knowledge. This is what will be expected. So you will find, even though domain is same, level goes on increasing. So we should understand domain as well as level of domain, and for each level, what extent, depth, and breadth of that knowledge domain is expected. This is be described. When we come to skills domain, now what is the element of descriptor? Application of knowledge. If he is a certificate student, it will be expected that a student is able to select and use basic method, tools, material, information to generate solution to specific problem relating to only chosen field. But when he comes to the diploma, you will find that he should be able to apply specialized knowledge now, as well as he should be able to gather quantitative, qualitative data and select and apply. You can say basic methods, not only you can say for his say, but he should be able to formulate the solution. Earlier he was expected to generate. Now he is expected to formulate also solution. And when he comes to level 5.5, that is degree level, what we generally call as third year, here the skill requirement will be much broader and deeper, wherein the student should be able to apply specialized technical knowledge, cognitive knowledge, practical skill to gather, as well as to assess appropriateness of different approaches. Now, n number of approaches will be there, and he should be identify the right approach which is to be used. And level, whatever his approach is given, the student of level 4.5, he should be able to apply. But level 5.5, third year student, he should be able to optimize, he should be able to judge and employ the right approach to generate solutions, not only of his problem, but any other problem in the chosen field. What is the other skill required to perform and accomplish tasks? If the student is of certificate level, it is expected that the student is able for selecting and using relevant method, tools and material to assess appropriateness of approaches. But level diploma level student, what skill is expected? He should be able to analyze and synthesize ideas. See, you will find that level goes on analytical thinking and synthesis is the highest level. He is moving towards that. And when he comes to degree, he should be able, he should have cognitive and technical skill to evaluate and analyze complex idea and generate the solutions also for specific problem as well as broad-based problems of his area. So this is how skill requirement description is very clearly given in this document. What is the takeaway for us? The takeaway for us is that when we will design curriculum, when we will design assessment method, we have to ensure attainment of these 5 parameters at appropriate level. If our assessment as well as imparting instruction, so pedagogy as well as evaluation technique, if we do not change and we do not get it oriented as per NEP, in that case, even if our student passes, some competent authority will say, no, even though you say he is a student of third year, you can say degree level, but his competency is of diploma level only. So we will recognize him as a diploma because on these 5 parameters, the competency level attainment by which will be tested, evaluated by some competent authority. If it does not match, you will find that he will be treated like one level below. Friends, I am from engineering college. For last 40 years, I have seen, even though it was not on paper, a student getting engineering degree. There are 60 students who come out with, say, degree. We used to find some students, everybody got the job, but some student got the job of supervisory level. Some student, because competent authority interviewer, the company used to test them. And if the competency, even though all are 4-year degree holder, all are, you can say, same university degree they are getting, some students used to get job which diploma student can also get. While some students used to get job which master's qualification student may get. Salary package also varied. The reason was, even though we at our institute level recognize everybody as degree holder, but competent authority, competent stakeholder, when he evaluate the candidate, he classify them depending upon the attributes achieved by that student, and those students used to get job, even though all degree holders were not getting same level of jobs. This is what we have now come to know, that if we would have assessed the student on these 5 parameters, then it would have been easy for us to classify the student of their level of attainment. So same case is for employability ready skills and entrepreneur skill and that mindset. For each level, you will find this document is already there. I will share with it. We have to keep 5 minutes for discussion. So I will slightly go faster. Same is for affective domain. The value system expected of certificate level and degree holder level will be
I'm audible.
different, and
Because
national
of
credit
Raluvi.
in NCRF, we see that they have given this credit framework upon the function of achieving the desired learning outcome determined by successful achievement. This credit framework says that student will be awarded credit whether those credits are earned by completing academic or through vocational training skill or by experiential learning, relevant learning and proficiency and professional level acquired. So whatever student performs, everything will be creditized and credits will be given to the student, and student will be able, like an architect, he can design his own degree course, 3 years program, minimum 120 credit. Those 120 credits can be earned through these various levels. NCRF says that 1200 hours of learning will entail student for 40 credits. So these are the verticals of our edu curriculum: major, minor, IKS system, internship, vocational, co-curricular and extracurricular, and complete system will get changed to outcome-based education. So I think I should keep 5-10 minutes for discussion. So main our skill development part, I tried to give whatever best possible to my extent. I think I should express my sincere thanks to our Madan Mohan Malviya Teachers Training Center, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Pros Vice Chancellor, Dr. Atik Sir, Ankit Sir, and all my team members of UGC HRDC cell, and dear all participants for patience in hearing. My slides will be available to everybody. I will be available anytime. I am thankful you gave me an opportunity and listened patiently. So if any questions, I am ready to answer. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
My doubt is that
Yeah.
if the student has taken the admission to the mechanical department, supposed to be, he has completed his second year.
Yes.
Now he feels that he has to switch over to another branch. Is it possible in this system?
No. See, there are 3 types of courses or discipline proposed by NEP. One is monodisciplinary, second is multidiscipline, and third is
Okay.
intradiscipline. Engineering education is monodisciplinary. So first year is common, he can definitely change probably in second year or presently also. Once he has taken as a mechanical engineering as his major, as a minor he can take any subject.
Yes,
But
yes, correct.
his major will continue in the same. Whole discipline he cannot change, but he can earn credit from other disciplines.
That means there are some subjects they have been classified as a major subjects.
Yeah.
He can't leave
Mechanical
that
engineering
subject.
means it is a major.
Okay.
Yeah, it
No,
is
no,
a monodisciplinic approach. So,
yes. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. So,
Sir.
Ankit, should we stop?
Thank you,
Sir.
sir. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
really, sir. The session you have conducted is really very much informative session. On behalf of all the participants, I am very glad to thank you for your proper guidance to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any facility for dual degree?
Thank you.
That is a part of NEP, and separate notifications have come for dual degree. So one can pursue Open University ODL as well as conventional degree also. So that, but it is a different domain.
Okay, but at a time both cannot be the same, no?
No, it has to be different.
Different. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.